Well, James, say something.
Hello? How did we end the stream then we started? It might work out. It might work out. Well, actually, no, nothing? I don't know. I have no idea. There you go. Can you hear it now? Yep. Here's the captain with it. The BBC in the corner. Throwing it up to Taramina. Up he comes. A one-on-one. Blocked there by Netflix. And then taken. Up comes 96 with some speed. Gets around Eddie right in the slot. And then as he has done all night, standing tall. Narwhals will go for a change. A defensive zone draw for these Narwhals. The BBC fighting for it and slapping it away. But Telly will slap at it. BBC getting it up to him. Thrown on wide. Here is the Blue Ranger. Up comes Netflix now. Throwing it on there. James slapping away. Finding Batelli now. A 2-on-1 opportunity with the Blue Ranger. And thrown on high by the Blue Ranger. Has not looked like himself since that fall.
Doctor now. Dr. James Ashby.
Are you putting a mic on? That does sound nice, huh?
Dr. Ashby. Yes, Dr. Ashby.
There's talks about the emergence of Dr. Ashby as well. A high stick. Will it be called there? He will not call it. Blue Ranger to take the draw. Slapping it forward. That shot does not make it through the traffic, but collecting once more. O'Connor back to 12. Back to him. Up he comes now. Slapped at by the BBC and then taken by him. Thrown across. Will eventually find the Blue Ranger. But Telly coming into the slot. Puck will find his stick. Oh, and then losing the puck there is the Blue Ranger, but he had an open net. Poked at there by the BBC. Some tenacity coming from this Narwhal line. And a couple shoves given there by the BBC. Slapping it up the boards. Getting through to Batelli. A one-on-one. And he'll go wide right. The Blue Ranger to collect. Spillane on the forecheck. Slapping at it. The BBC giving help. Down goes the Blue Ranger once more, but he will collect. Perhaps looking for Batelli. He'll throw it all the way down. Batelli will fight for it on the boards, but collected by the likes of Netflix. And bouncing through the traffic. Batelli nearest it. Collecting is in the Narwhal zone is Spillane. And slapped out by the BBC. Taking the slapper and hitting the glove of the goaltender, and then using the body to create traffic in front. Still loose there. Batelli picks it up in a backhand save. Looking to come back up to the point. And Eric will collect the clear. Waiting here with it. Up comes the captain, who looks to catch that one. Slapped at and sent down by Vane. The BBC fighting for it. Still using that body. Narwhals will come out with it. BBC maintaining pressure and carrying that puck loosely and eventually picked up by Fisher now. taken away by the captain, the little man. And slapped right into the zone, but shot wide. Oh, and right into the slot now, but collected by the BBC. And something to say about it as 12. The ref just with crossed arms. Nothing to say. The captain collects once more. Oh, and finding the stick of his man, and then covered by James, who has been rock solid all night. Hey, are we going to get our other goal? We have 2 goals. The button broke. And apparently the button to add goals to the Narwhal score has been broken intentionally. We do not know at this time. We will be bringing you updates as this situation unfolds. Eric Fisher collecting after winning the draw backward to his brother. He'll lose it now, though, as we've got Little Bill and Eddie Fisher on defense. And another rock-solid save, the MVP thus far for these Narwhals. We'll get there. And some joy with the Narwhal bench. Another face-off one there from Eric Fisher. That's 2 for him. And collecting is he. Circling around. He'll have it taken from him. Little Bill right in front. Oh, and collecting. Looking to throw it on. A good pass save there. Eric Fisher collecting once more. Perfect has James been between the pipes for these Narwhals. Oh, and down goes the captain. The little man. Taramina running into the boards. The captain collecting. Lines 96 across. That shot deflected wide. Taramina laying the body on the captain. Here's Eddie. Circling back. Captain hits the boards hard. Little Bill sending it up to Taramina. Perhaps looking for some of that Disney World magic. Taramina will have it taken from him. Eric Fisher circling back on defense. Oh, and finding his man right in front, but deflected wide. Here's the captain once more. Little Bill laying some body on him. And Bill has certainly matured in the way he plays and used that body as James makes another routine save. Little Bill not having been called for a penalty this entire season, showing some of that discipline for this 3-1 Narwhal team with a 2-goal lead with 2:13 remaining in the first half. Here's the captain, chased by Taramina. Up comes 96 now. Eddie Fisher on the defense. And that puck taken by him. Taramina circles up. Eddie Fisher along the boards. Little Bill calls for a man from the bench. Oh, Eddie finding Taramina in front. And he cannot stuff it in. Narwhals have had a few of those opportunities as Vane has it momentarily. And here's the captain with one man to beat. He does. Oh, and then right over the shoulder. As the lead is cut to 1 by the captain for Netflix. A 2-1 advantage for these Narwhals. 1:25 remains in the first half. And in a game that it feels as though the Narwhals have dominated, just a 1-goal advantage, not able to capitalize, along with the developing possible injury to the Blue Ranger after taking that hard fall. Narwhals will need their secondary players to step up as down goes Batelli, but collects the puck nonetheless. And getting it to the BBC. And throwing it up the boards. Vane will give chase. No. Batelli up on the forecheck. Throwing it around is Netflix. And the Blue Ranger able to intercept there. Finding Batelli right in front. And covered. An offensive zone chance here for these Narwhals. Just 30 seconds remains here. Narwhals up with it. Slapping at it is the BBC. That'll go down as a save. And thrown around by Vane. He'll find the Blue Ranger. And he'll have it taken from him. Blue Ranger collects here. Just 10 seconds remain. Right in the slot. Oh, a good save there. Batelli now. 4 seconds remain. Thrown there. Still loose in front. Batelli with a weak backhand. And a late rush from these Narwhals. But still just a 2-1 advantage. This halftime, of course, brought to you by Snickers. You're not a narwhal when you're hungry.
I gotta figure it out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for hanging in through a long halftime as Batelli slaps the rebound in, giving these Narwhals a 3-1 advantage. Here's the BBC slapping it up to the Blue Ranger, who cannot get around that man. Here's Batelli, who just scored the goal. Narwhals have spread the love with their goal scoring, with the Blue Ranger, Vane, and Batelli all slapping one in. Blue Ranger with some intensity, chasing after that puck. The BBC ends up with it and still has it in the corner. Losing his sticks. The man from Netflix. Oh, and a beautiful pass from the BBC, but whiffing on the slapper is the Blue Ranger. Batelli finds the Blue Ranger. He's got Vane open. Up top. Facing some pressure here. We'll get it out to Vane. Here he is. Throwing it on. Up and safe. Circling back is Vane. Here's Batelli. Across to the BBC. That slapper goes wide. But sustained pressure here from these Narwhals. Not aggressive enough on the forecheck there. But Vane will collect it nonetheless and slap it back up. All the way back down. Blue Ranger will not give aggressive chase. Has him up against the boards now. Gets it to Batelli, who's right in front, fighting for it, and taken away by 12. Over 2 minutes into this, the second half. No line changes for either side. Up comes 86. Gets through the Narwhal defense. But left there. Here's the BBC throwing it around. We'll find Vane. Owen will lose it right in front, and then it will dribble in. Saved initially, but a good roll for Netflix. And they cut the lead to just one, a 3-2 advantage. More than Narwhals as both sides go for a full switch. On come the Fisher Bros, Little Bill, and Taramina. Taramina to take the draw against O'Connor. O'Connor with some purple in his pants, perhaps mocking these Narwhals. $18.50 remains here. Here's Spillane shooting it high and into the wrong net. Stoppage is called. O'Connor will toss it to our third favorite ref. Taramina to take the draw once more. And O'Connor will pick it up. Circling back. Gets around Little Bill. Still with it. That pass deflected out and gotten to his brother. Down goes a man from Netflix. Oh, and once more, taking their ankles and cannot bring it home. Get Eric Fisher after taking 2 pairs of ankles. And Monster Mash goes Eric Fisher, putting on a show for the fans here. We got that, right? You guys got that? Yeah. Okay. A defensive zone draw here as our third favorite ref asks for the assistance of a fan. Not sure which side he's rooting for here, but he will pick up the puck and they will head back to center as they then leave this man hanging after they asked him to get the puck. He got the puck, and then he shakes his finger at him, at a noble citizen helping out the men, and finally picking up the puck from him. Taramina slapping at it, getting it to Eric Fisher. who will lose it momentarily and then pick it back up. Taramina positioning himself in front of the net. Getting it over to his brother is Eric, who will lose it. Little Bill's going to get back onto the fence. And in the feet of Eddie, with a little bit of space, gets it just wide of his brother there. Oh, and into the boards goes Fisher. Taramina now behind the net, circling back with it. And we'll get it over to Eric. Still with it now, right in the slot. On the boards now, in the corner. Eddie Fisher cutting towards the slot. Little Bill up top. Eric will go to him. And taking their time are these Narwhals. Back to Eric, who circles in and then gets around two men. Still with it. Gets it to Taramina with the one-timer. And the Narwhals cannot stuff it in. All of that pressure. Back on comes the first line for the Narwhals. The BBC and Vane on the defense. And Batelli and the Blue Ranger. That face-off won by the Blue Ranger. Back up to Vane, who chips it in. The Vane now in the slot. He will lose it. The Blue Ranger slapping at it. Gets back to the BBC, who tries to settle it and then throws it up the boards between the legs of the man from Netflix. Here's Vane giving chase. Netflix picks it up, though, and left there, and then stumbling in front of the Narwhal bench. And here's the Blue Ranger shooting wide left. The captain, the little man, looking to collect with the BBC coming across. Oh, and that puck just not settled enough to slap into the net, but up comes Batelli, crossing the red line. Vane up at the top. Losing it is Batelli. 15 minutes remain here. A 3-2 advantage for the Narwhals. Losing it in front of the net is the Blue Ranger. And here's the BBC with it, kicking it to himself. Along the boards, spinning, picking it up. And not much of a chance there. As some jawing after the play with the BBC. After 16 was giving some shoves. You have to be careful when you're playing with the BBC. As he sets up next to him once more. And winning the draw there. Vane slapping it on. But blocked by Netflix. Up they come now. Oh, and a good blocker save there. Down goes the captain, the little man. And covered by James. 14-15 remains. The score still 3-2 in favor of the Narwhals. Though it has felt like a larger lead than that at times tonight. Winning it there is the captain. Circling back is 86, trying to settle it there. Waiting behind his own goaltender. And eventually passing up to 12. Up he comes. Nope, circling back. Batelli on the forecheck. Finally coming up now into the Narwhal zone. Off the post. The BBC chipping it up to himself, losing it for a moment there. And the captain will pick it up. Batelli chips it. Got the BBC there, but the Narwhals ultimately retain possession. Good job getting back on the defense for the Narwhals. Oh, right in the slot is the captain, but blocked by Batelli. Up he comes along the boards. Getting through two men. Oh, and then slapping it in. The backhand over the right shoulder as the BBC expands the Narwhal lead to 2. 100% that was a goal. That was definitely a goal. Yeah. That was 100% a goal. We got it on video. They give it to us? That was a goal. 100% that was a goal. Yeah, let's watch the tape. Send it to review.
Why blow the damn whistle then?
Yeah, what the fuck? And some controversy here as the Narwhals feeling robbed here. The backhand off the stick of the BBC seemingly pretty obviously went in. And the ref blew the whistle, saying that it did not go in. So the Narwhals not even able to capitalize on that rebound. And up comes O'Connor now. First, it was the button not being able to give the Narwhals their goals. And now they're seemingly cheated out of one here. As up comes the BBC. Getting it to Batelli in the corner. The BBC here. Back to Batelli. Up to Vane, who slaps it wide. Here's the Blue Ranger with it. Taking his time. Trailed by Spillane. Circling back is Batelli. And left there for him. Up he comes. Crossing the red line and slapped away from him and left there for a moment. Chased now. And tapped away by the Blue Ranger. He's got Batelli across. Cannot get it to him through the traffic, but Batelli will stick lift and take it right back. Here's the Blue Ranger giving chase. Behind the opposing net, he'll come out with it. And finally covered. 11 minutes remain here. 3-2 the score in favor of the Narwhals. Yeah, it looks like everybody loves it. The Narwhals have garnered a large audience tonight, drawing attention away from the lackluster girls field hockey game and bringing it in to the Narwhals here as they look to secure a victory. A good shoulder save there. Here's Batelli slapping it up the boards. Oh, and an easy glove save there. Who will let it go to the BBC. 10:30 remains here. The BBC crossing the red line, slapping it on, and covered. Clock continues to run. Both sides will go for a change. Taormina getting a lot of ice time tonight. Some attribute that to Coach Gary not showing up to these games as we get an appearance from Coach Gary. Coach Gary, of course, has been neglecting his Narwhals, has not been here to lead them. We were just getting into how as soon as Coach Gary stepped away from the Narwhals, Taormina got a spike in ice time. As in the slot. Oh, and an incredible save. An incredible save there by James. Stopping the incredible flexibility there to stop that one-timer from the captain. Here's Eric Fisher on the draw, but won by the captain for Netflix. Chipping it up to his brother Rossetti. And he's got Taormina across, taking his time though and circling back. Getting it to Little Bill, who faces two men on the forecheck. Cannot get it through them. Oh, and a good poke out there by our goaltender, James. All right, back comes 86, and through the crease, knocking into our goaltender is the captain. A good pad save there. Eric collecting once more. Taormina looking to collect. The captain gets there first, though. Up he comes along the boards. Taking his time. Finally getting into the Narwhal zone. And a good shove there from Little Bill after a lot of peskiness. I think our third favorite ref here recognizes there was a lot of peskiness on both sides. And we talked earlier in the game about the restraint and the maturity that Little Bill has shown here. Perhaps letting a little slip there as Taormina will intercept the pass and get around the captain. Looking to take a shot. We'll have it slapped away momentarily as Netflix will collect. And up they come. 86 with a head of steam. A good blocker save there. Punched away. Rolling it across, but wide for Eric Fisher, who gives the forecheck. Up along the boards, collecting is the captain. Eddie Fisher on the defense and slapped out there from behind. Off the stick of Taormina. And looking to collect is he. Throwing it around the boards. Eric Fisher looking for it. And look at him creating space. Getting in the slot and then losing it. Taormina looking for a change. Out comes Batelli. As Taormina goes over the boards. Fisher coming off as well. That's Eric. Eddie will stay on. The Blue Ranger getting on for him. Here's Little Bill with it. Facing pressure from the captain. Not doing much to that large frame of Bill. Right in front of Ward now. Oh, throwing it off at a good pad save. Here's Eddie Fisher with it. Getting around the captain. But losing it through traffic. Here's 12 now. Captain positioning himself in front. 12 still circling around. Poked at by Batelli unsuccessfully. Oh, and stuffing in the game-tying goal is D'Amato. The game now reset. Tied at 3-3. 6:24 remains in this game. And I hate to say it, but we have seen the Narwhals do this before. You see them hold on to a lead and give it up late in the game, not able to capitalize on their opportunities. Yet here is Vane throwing it down on the stick of O'Connor. O'Connor will wait behind his goaltender. Oh, and running into them each other is the BBC and number 2. No call. We would have to look back at the tape there. Here's Batelli, though, knocking it in. And Batelli on backhand over the left shoulder to take the lead back for these Narwhals. A 4-3 game in favor of these Narwhals as the Blue Ranger steps up to take the draw. Here's the Blue Ranger with it. Flopping it in, but saved. Offensive zone chance here for the Narwhals. Approaching 5 minutes remaining. A 1-goal advantage. Draw one there and got into O'Connor. And they find the wrong net. Blue Ranger once more to take the draw. Held there for a moment. Blue Ranger coming out with it and into the chest. And a lot of stoppages here as the Narwhals hold the zone. The BBC and Vane at the point. Held there once more. Vane with a slap at it. But O'Connor will get around him. Oh, and then finding Spillane across. O'Connor will have it slapped away. Oh, and going down is Vane, as he often does, but able to pick the puck away and get it to the Blue Ranger. Finding Batelli now, who will slap it wide. Vane looking to corral it. And will come all the way back to the BBC, who faces the forecheck from Spillane, who was denied by James earlier. Here's Batelli now in the corner. Putting the brakes on and finding the Blue Ranger. Vane circling back. So is the BBC. Blue Ranger looking for a man. Defended well by O'Connor. Gotten up there. Vane will lose the fight at the point, and then coming back to save the day is the Blue Ranger to break up. Vane will have that shot blocked by O'Connor. Fought for there in the corner by the BBC. You don't want to put a BBC in the corner. Slapped at by the Blue Ranger and then collected by him. Taking his time, getting back to the point. He's got Vane across. He'll get it to Batelli, however. That'll go through the crease. Poked at there by the Blue Ranger. Lead remains just 1 for the Narwhals. Getting around the Blue Ranger momentarily. And then over the blocker. And it is a 4-4 game and a new game once more with 2:45 on the clock. And James has played an incredible game for these Narwhals thus far. Taking a timeout are these Narwhals. This timeout, of course, brought to you by Verizon. Cell service from a Narwhal. The Narwhal timeout has ended, as it is a tie game with 2 minutes and 28 seconds to go. Narwhals will go with the same 4 men, as will Netflix. Netflix will win that draw. Throwing it on, but blocked by the BBC. Here's Batelli chipping it up to himself. He's got a one-on-one opportunity along the boards and circling around, getting it to Vane, who will hold it there momentarily and then find the Blue Ranger, who will lose it in his feet. Vane on the defense. Nothing doing there. Here's the BBC with it, kicking it up to himself. A 2-on-1 opportunity here. Can he get it to the Blue Ranger? He cannot. A good dive there to block off the Blue Ranger. We have 1:45 remaining. It is a new game here. Offensive zone draw for the Narwhals. Interesting, the Narwhals have not put Eric Fisher in charge of these face-off opportunities. He's been very good, and a little show of disrespect there from the captain, the little man. Blue Ranger to take the draw. Will collect it up there. Into the slot. Back around and then missing the net wide. Here's the captain with it. Slapped at and gotten away from him. Here's Batelli with it. And collected along the boards. Changes hands. Once more. Here's the BBC slapping at it. Wide there with that shot. Oh, and sending him into the boards. And we're going to get some off come the helmets after that big shot from the BBC. And our third favorite ref here is going to have to do something about this. As perhaps 12 was feeling that BBC on his thigh. Oh, and still grabbing at him is 12 as we've got a situation unfolding. Having a word with the BBC here. As throwing the first punch was number 12 for Netflix. Still jawing back and forth here.
I mean, yeah, he's got the videotape right there.
As we'll have to wind the tape back on that one. But 12 took exception there to the shot into the boards from the BBC. And again, perhaps he felt the shaft or the tip against his thigh. As still jawing, are they? Having an extended conversation, getting involved is Little Bill and Taramina. Verano in close proximity as well. Just 1:06 remains in this game, which is still left to play. Wow, and a show of disrespect to the wow. And a who wants you here anyway? From our third favorite ref, he may be moving down that list and still on about him. And this is the kind of service that we get from this historic All-Star Arena, as still jawing is our fourth favorite ref. And again, we still have a game to play. A tie to break. See if these teams can get refocused. As here's Eric with it. gets around the captain. And right in the slot is he, as the conversation continues on the sideline after some offhanded remarks from our fourth favorite ref. Slapping it on to Batelli. Oh, and deflected right in front of the net. Just 35 seconds remain. Getting it down in the Narwhal zone. Vane slapping it up though, but stopped by Netflix. Facing some opposition. Here's the Blue Ranger with it now. A 2-on-2 opportunity. Gets around the first man. Can he get it across? And in! And the Narwhals strike with just 20 seconds remaining. Perhaps the game-winning goal off of the stick of the Blue Ranger. And deflated looking Netflix team with just 20 seconds to tie it once more. A 5-4 advantage for the Narwhals. 15 seconds remain. Batelli killing time and getting it all the way down. Just 10 seconds remain as 24 for Netflix collects. Throwing it all the way down. 86 waits there for it. Just 2 seconds remain. Holding it there is Batelli and the Narwhals. And the Narwhals will deliver a close victory, overcoming the situation that was developing on the sideline with the BBC and delivering a 5-4 victory over a very good team. MVP, no doubt, has got to be James between the pipes for these Narwhals. I've not developed a nickname for him yet, but with his second MVP upcoming, we will need to work on one.
Are we signing off?
And so for Front Yard Trampoline Production and the Narwhals, this is James Ward signing off.